Hi everybody, welcome to The Limit Breakdown, where we review everything in TV show, movie, and entertainment. I'm your host, Sid.
I'm Migs.
And we have a special guest.
Hi, I'm Linda.
And today we're going to be talking about The Last of Us, Episode 9, as well as a series as a whole. Our too long didn't watch review of Season 1 is that it had great acting, really good practical effects, and the story stuck pretty good to the original source material.
However, a couple minor things. It did feel like the story was a little bit rushed, and there was not nearly enough infected encounters or people or monsters or things of that nature. So that's why we're giving this series 4.5 hearts.
Mind the broken pinky.
Well, you should have just done the hand. That's 4.5 right there. But anyway, stay tuned after the intro for our deep dive into Season 1 and Episode 9 of The Last of Us. Hi, welcome back to The Limit Breakdown, and we are going to be reviewing Episode 9 of The Last of Us and Season 1 as a whole. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. We'll start off with you, Sid. What were your thoughts on this episode?
I really liked it. I liked the ending. I liked the progression of the story. I think what got me the most was the fact that in this episode you see Joel's connection to Ellie, and it shows that he's like, I genuinely care for you. Like, doesn't matter what,
He is softy.
He is a softie now. He's like, I care for you. Whatever happens, I got you, and I'm here with you. And that part, really struck out. So his character development has gone 180.
Yeah.
As the episode progresses, they share more intimate things about each other, right? So we finally find out why he has the hearing loss. Turns out he tried to do it himself, and he failed. But, and that's a very emotional thing to tell somebody.
Yeah.
On the flip side, Ellie tells him finally, hey, this is how I killed somebody first.
Yeah.
Right? It's because of the backstory that we saw in a previous episode, and she's like, I had to kill my friend.
Yeah.
So now they're really, really bonding. And obviously, as they're walking away with their stupid puns, things had to go haywire, and they end up with the fireflies.
Okay, so my biggest gripe about this episode, and in general, this goes into a little bit more of the series as a whole. So I felt like they took out a key section because in the game, they are going through the city and they have to weave through basically a basement of a building that's full of infected people. And there's these 2 giant bloaters that you have the option of fighting them, but it's not recommended because you usually die, or you can sneak past them. And in the process, one of the big things about Ellie was that she can't swim. So, like, you have to figure out a way to maneuver her around in this flooded basement, and then she ends up falling in the water. She ends up almost drowning. He gets her out of the water, and he's trying to resuscitate her. And in the process of him trying to resuscitate her is when Fireflies. The Fireflies come and grab him. So they knock him out as he's trying to bring her. Well, I thought as he's trying to bring her back. I thought it was a little cheesy that they're just kind of walking by and like you can see in the background behind them the soldiers like winding up and throwing the little like.
Yeah.
That point of view, yeah. So I didn't notice them in the back.
Yeah. So like if you're not paying attention, it kind of comes out of nowhere. But like you can clearly tell, see them coming, and I felt like maybe they blew their load on like all the infected for that one scene earlier in the season, and like you
didn't have the budget for it.
Yeah, and
it's
so
HBO, they got the money.
Yeah, but I mean, like I felt like, especially towards the latter part of the season, the threat of the infected didn't seem as looming as it should have been. Now, granted, the story is still very much a human-centric story. Like, the real dangers, the real threats of this world, yes, there is the infected, but it's more the people. And I get that. But at the same time, I feel like if you didn't watch those first couple of episodes, if you just watched the last half of the season, like, there was almost no...
So, fun fact. So, one of the reasons that we brought on Linda for today is she has a different perspective on the show, right? You and I have played the game.
Yes.
And like I've always said, whenever there's an adaptation of something, we're looking at it from a perspective of how does it compare to the original. Linda has never played the game.
Nope.
So she is coming with a fresh perspective of how is The Last of Us as a TV show primarily, without knowledge of
the
game. Right, so from a strictly TV perspective, do you agree or disagree with our thoughts?
I agree. I didn't even actually notice that there weren't enough infected until you mentioned it. And now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, I really do wish there were more because that was the whole point. Like, how did you cross country by horse, by walking, and by 2 failed cars, and there weren't any infected? Like,
I mean, there were a few.
There were a few, but it was just, you're right. If the whole world has gone to hell, then where's the rest of hell?
Yeah.
But I agree, the acting was great. These are, Game of Thrones characters, and we've noticed that their acting is spot on, so I wouldn't put it past why their acting wouldn't be good.
On the counteracting my own point.
Of course.
There's also the argument that can be made that the emotional beats that this story tells, which is one of the reasons why it's such a beloved story among the gaming community and why so many people were nervous when this show first got announced, was because the story in this is as close to perfect as you can get, as far as the video game as a storytelling medium. And in that perspective, I feel like the show hit all of the major emotional beats spot on. And I'm going to use a different show as an example. The Walking Dead, right? Even though they got the zombie and the gore and the excess and all of that correct, but there was so much of it that it diluted a lot of those emotional beats, where I feel like in here the focus was on like going back to the story with Henry and Sam, right? We only had one episode with them, but the emotional impact of Henry getting infected and then Sam killing him and then killing himself immediately. Like, I was left with my jaw on the floor, and I've played the game. I knew it was coming. And at the end of the episode, like, my face was like this. I was like, why did I do this to myself?
I looked at him and I was like, if you don't do this for me, then that's it. We're done. I don't want to do this. Right. And I mean, like, because we're infected, not because, like, you're over my thing for the day.
So are you saying if he takes you out, he has to take himself out? Or are you saying or if you're infected, he has to take you out?
If I'm infected, take me out.
And then take himself out.
He's got a broken pinky. I don't think he can survive.
Fair. So I want to talk about a little bit later of episode 9, the big plot twist, the big climax of the show, right? So when Ellie and Joel get captured, Joel wakes up in a hospital-esque setting.
Not sponsored, by the way.
And Marlene is there, and she's like, it took 5 guys died while me coming here. So how did you guys do it? And in the back of my mind, I was like, how did you get there?
Yeah. I was like, she's a witch.
Do you know what they've been through? Your 5 guys died, but at least you had an army.
Yeah.
You made it.
And a car. They barely had a car.
And a battery.
So I was
maybe
like,
they saw more infected. Gotta follow the Marlene story.
Yeah, that should be a good spinoff. And Marlene is like, you're okay, you're safe. And the whole time Joel's like, where's Ellie? Where's Ellie? Where's Ellie? Because the last, now that we have that connection, he's protecting her, and she's like, she's good, perfect for surgery. the cordyceps, what we think happens scientifically, the cordyceps, the mushrooms
Shrooms.
go to your brain, and her brain is like, no, we're already cordyceps, don't infect, and it doesn't infect. And Joel makes the connection, but it's in the brain. So he makes the connection that they're going to have to kill her to chop the brain out.
On a hypothetical.
Yeah. So on a hypothetical, they don't even know if this is going to work. They're like, we think this is the best way to make the cure. And she's like, thank you, but you did your job. You can leave now. They're like, you can leave on your own accord. We'll give you supplies, but you can't stop us. And I think it was very emotional. You can see that when she's like, I do understand. I was there when she was born. Because that was the opening scene of her mom giving birth to Ellie and being like, please take care of her.
That was, so one of the things that the show has done really well is adding little extra scenes that weren't in the game that give a little bit more context to some of the stuff from the game. And we knew that Marlene and Ellie's mom had a relationship. And we knew that Ellie had been left in Marlene's care when her mom died. But that was the extent of what we knew. So this kind of showed, like, starts off with her kind of running in the woods. But from what I understood of it is basically either her mom was one of the original Fireflies or she's at least involved with the original Fireflies. And from their conversations, they had been friends before the outbreak. They had been lifelong friends. And I've watched a couple of different breakdown videos and a couple of other interpretations, and somebody made a point that I disagreed with, because they were saying it's like, oh, Ellie lied. Not Ellie. Ellie's mom lied about when she cut the umbilical cord, and that so that Marlene wouldn't kill Ellie. Because she told Marlene, I cut the umbilical cord before I was bit. But when I watched that scene and I looked at the exchange, and it wasn't anything spoken, it was a look that she gave, that it was one of those, no, I cut this umbilical cord before I got bit. So it was one of those, like she said it without having to say it.
Okay.
Like, it was
lie for your friend.
It's
you were there.
It was one of those subtle things where it's like if me and Sid are in the middle of something and someone goes, hey, where were you guys? It was like, oh, we've been together the whole time.
We were together the
whole time.
Your best friend?
Yeah.
My best friend.
So but it was just one of those very, very like subtle things. And so moving forward to the top of the episode, I don't know how to feel about Marlene, because I feel like she might have suspected, like, obviously she took the baby, right? Yep. And I think that she genuinely thought that Ellie was infected, and she thought that at some point she'd have to put the baby down, but that out of respect for her friend, she was going to keep the baby until it turned. Until it turned, and until she absolutely had to. And then as time went on and she saw that nothing happened, I think
she Dumbledored him.
Yeah.
Or Dumbledored her. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Just raised her to slaughter.
And so I feel like Marlene has been, and I'm not saying that it makes her particular choice any easier, but I feel like the more she stopped seeing her as her friend's daughter and more as the opportunity to have a greater purpose. And I think that's kind of the...
Maybe? I mean, maybe...
Like pushing the prophecy on Ellie type thing.
Yeah, and then it was further confirmed once she got bit.
Yeah.
True.
I think she might have, but I don't think she confirmed for sure until that scene when Ellie gets bit in the mall. And I think at that point, she's like...
Because shortly afterwards, she got caught by the Fireflies, right? So, I mean, maybe maybe Marlene was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the baby, see if it turns. If it turns well, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna take care of it. But nothing happened, so maybe she set it up like Dumbledore did and raised it and send it off, kept a close eye, maybe. But getting bit was an accident or fate, whatever you want to call it, to intervene, and then Marlene's like, that's my goat.
Yeah.
I want my goat back. I want to figure something out. And could be, just being devil's advocate, maybe everything that Marlene has gone through while Ellie was growing up hardened Marlene. And that's why, and because she was never around the child, why she was so easy to be so cold and calculated and say, this is for the good of everyone, not the one.
I also feel like that was the calculated risk. I think that she sent her off so that she wouldn't form any type of attachment either.
Probably.
So the rest of the Last of Us fan base now gets to join the video game fan base in the question we've been asking ourselves since the end of the first game, which was Joel right in what he did?
No.
Okay.
No, because Ellie's gonna find out, and that's going to crush her even more. She's gonna be grateful, but she won't know what to do with her emotions. She's going to be relieved that she is alive and that Joel did what he needed to do, but I don't believe that he should have lied to her, because that's only going to make whatever upcoming impact this decision that she has for him. So, and she was always been a non-BS kind of person. They've both been. That's probably why they like each other and built a good relationship.
Yeah, I agree. And they did it in the show as well. Marlene made a good point. Even at the end, she was like, dude, it's fine. Like, even though you just went on a just killing spree, which that scene will come back to, he made a good point. He's like, that I understand, but that's not your choice. And Marlene's like, it's not your choice either. Make it her choice. Let her choose. And in reality, she said it. She's like, you know that if she chooses, she's gonna choose this. And that thought scared the crap out of Joel.
But she didn't give her a choice anyway. Like, they knocked her out, and they told her, we didn't tell her anything. She's not going to suffer. She's not going to have any fear.
Yeah.
She's literally never going to wake up. Like, she gets knocked out
her
in the back
last
of the
memory
head.
is of the explosion. And
Yeah.
that's it. But even if Joel was like, hey, let's give her a choice. Right? Let her wake up, we'll give her a choice. And then even if Marlene agreed to that, she's like, she's going to pick this. And
pick to die or
to
live?
pick to die. If they had given Ellie the choice, would she have picked to die? If they had genuinely given her the choice,
I don't know. I don't think she would. I think she would talk the game and try to, but at the very end, I think she'd be like, I don't want to die. Like,
I think
this a
reverse.
cure? Was this a guaranteed cure?
No, it was a theoretical cure.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me into my position. I feel, and I think this strikes home a little bit more for me because I'm a parent, and it's one of those things where it's like, I understand the impulse to want to say, I mean, like, this is talking about the potentiality of having a vaccine for the end of the world. A cure for the ailments of the world, and all you have to do is sacrifice this one little girl. And 9 times out of 10, everyone would make that choice.
Yeah.
But that 1 out of 10 times that they wouldn't is when it's my baby girl. And
Papa Joel said no.
And I look at that situation, and maybe I'm a lot more cynical minded, but I also look at it from the perspective of, let's say everything was ideal and they were able to make a cure or synthesize a cure from the cordyceps in her brain. Did they actually possess the resources to be able to mass produce the cure?
That was the question.
And then if they could, what would stop the Fireflies from using it as a tool to amass power, because then they are a militaristic organization that has access to the only medical solution for this worldwide pandemic. So what's to stop them from using that to
what
abuse?
makes them not Fedra?
Yeah, exactly. And so there's just too many intangibles for me to be comfortable with that situation. Not to mention that, like, I'm not a scientist, but you would think, like, I don't know how much time passed from the time that they were knocked out to the time that she was being prepped for surgery, but, like, you gotta do a few more blood tests. They don't gotta. I
don't know if you know this, but I think they're a little limited on doctors.
Yeah,
and no shot Watt.
Yeah, but
no, not on time. There was never a sense of time ending, and there's only a set of population.
I mean, but I'm saying, like, it's not like they have a 24-hour lab anywhere. Like, you figured you'd get somebody to look at the blood under the microscope. Can we try a blood transfusion before we kill the only person that's immune?
Yes, I agree. Like, there are other ways than just say, hey, take the brain, give it lobotomize her, and let's see if it works. Not actually test it, get a test subject and try it out.
Listen, I'm a mechanic, so like, if I have a check engine light on, I'm gonna try the cheapest alternative. Like, I'm gonna change the battery before I swap the engine out.
Well, you see, I'm in IT and I turn things off and turn it back on. So
I'm in logistics. I give them the shit they want.
Yeah, I think that's a huge debate in the show.
Yeah, no, it's always
should have happened.
It's always been a big point, and like it like I said, 9 times out of 10 people would make the altruistic choice, and I totally understand people feeling like, hey, the good of the many outweighs the good of the few.
Yeah.
But how many people would be willing to sacrifice their own? And at this point, like, Ellie is his own. After everything that he's been through with her,
he loved her.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, like what they showed in that episode itself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, he loved her. You can start seeing it episode by episode. Chips of his icy heart start chipping away. So, I mean, yeah, of course he's going to try to protect her. And anybody that got to see her, even if Marlene was with her, she would try to protect her. But yeah, there's other ways to get to the end results before just...
Overall, how do we feel about the series as a whole?
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed the pacing of the show as a whole. Caveat. As a whole, I thought it was good. The emotional spins they put on each episode.
Mm-hmm.
Not so all together, yes, but on each episode, the emotional pulls they put, it was really good.
And each character.
Each character they developed very well and then killed them off. But having said that, I think the last episode, as pivotal as it was, I feel the last episode it felt rushed. It was a good 45-minute long episode, but it definitely felt rushed. They built, like I was saying, the final connection between Joel and Ellie, and then within 15 minutes they're like, boom boom boom, plot twist, here's the ending, here's Joel's final decision of John Wicking through the entire hospital. He went straight John Wick.
I did enjoy how that sequence, the way that it was shot, kind of in slow motion, kind of in like
lower soundtrack,
kind of like ringing and echoes, like the music was kind of very, very dark. It almost felt kind of like a fog.
What got me?
Mm-hmm.
This footwork.
Mm-hmm.
They kept showing up on his foot. They kept showing his
the
footwork.
bullet drops.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that, just while he was walking, because I mean, he had military training.
Mm-hmm.
That was already alluded prior to. Then he already has more training as being, I guess, a mercenary. It's never
smuggler.
Smuggler.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, smuggler. Then he has that type of training, so he flipped a switch and he just went, all right.
Yeah, you're right. And like he's saying, they showed the camera of his foot. They could see each bullet dropping every time.
And I mean, throughout the series, they kept alluding to, hey, you know, Joel is a very capable person. He has a particular set of skills.
And he decided to mess with his daughter.
So John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. So anyways, back to so the last 15-20 minutes of the episode, they're like, plot twist, Ellie has this thing, it's in her brain, Joel flips his switch, takes her, and then kills Marlene with the final words like, you're still going to follow her, takes the car and leaves. I felt like that part 2 of that episode seemed rushed to me.
Yeah.
I get that perspective, but I also kind of appreciate in a sense that everything happened in a whirlwind because that's how it happened to Joel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt rushed because
in his
perspective, it was. It wasn't like he had time to plot out. No. He got up, made the realization that they were going to kill her, was being escorted out, and in the course of 15 steps from the room to the stairs decided, I'm going to kill everyone in this building and get her out.
And I thought the scene that was very clever, as you said that I just remembered, is when they were walking, he stopped, looked at a little map, right? And that's when he's like, now I see the map. And he's like, which way do I go? They're like, stairs. He's like, all right, this is where it's going to start. And that's the moment where he's like, now that I know where I'm going, I don't need these guys. Because when he asked one of the guys, he's like, where is she? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. He's like, cool, I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Moving on. Even the guy that put his gun down, he's like, dude, I'm going to walk away, put the guns down. He's like, thanks.
No
Boom.
survivors.
So, wow.
Yeah. Now, he did it to protect her, and, like, that's... We know that he did it to protect her.
Yeah.
But this went, like, that's my baby. He went...
Mama bear, baby cub.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Papa Bear, but, you know.
Whatever, you know.
Daddy.
As a series, I feel like the show definitely lived to the potential. I'm gonna be that guy and say that the game was better.
Because you put yourself into it, you were playing it.
No,
you died. You had to restart. You had to think of something different.
No, I honestly feel like there was some. Mostly to do with parts with the infected, mostly to do with a couple of sequences that I feel like they cut out that could have been really, really impactful. There was a sequence with Bill that I was looking forward to that wasn't included in there. I mean, they made a choice on how to go with Bill and Frank, which I ultimately liked that change that they made. But there was a sequence with Bill where you fall into one of his traps and you're hanging upside down and the infected are swarming around you and Ellie has to like try to help bring Joel down, and Joel is like fending off some of the infected, and then Bill comes in and saves you at the last minute.
Okay.
And I felt like that would have been like a really compelling sequence. And
how they met.
And there was some witty banter between Bill and Ellie that I was looking forward to.
I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, but at the same time, what they did with Bill and Frank's story, the alternative that they gave, because in the game, Bill alludes to Frank and alludes to him being dead, and it was a very like bitter and scornful ending that they have. Whereas the alternative that they had gave such a beautiful portrayal, and a good alternative to their story, and I thought it enriched the characters and overall made that story better. So I can certainly understand why they cut that. But like I said, with respects to the basement scene where they crept around some of the bloaters, I mean we saw one bloater. Exactly my point.
That big thing.
The big infected one, the one that ripped the dude's head off in the episode 5. You know how you had the swarm of infected that came out from the basement?
Yeah,
with
yeah.
brother.
The fire scene and all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay.
that big giant thing that came out was a bloater.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they didn't have a lot of clickers either.
Yeah, in the game, that bloater is like one of the big bosses, or the bloaters in general are one of the big bosses. That not only are they like super hardened, they have like super hard skin, so it takes like a lot of ammunition to take them down. But they also throw like these spore bombs at you, and it's all sorts of nastiness.
Reminds me of like Left 4 Dead kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very nasty, but like I said, that goes back to my other gripe about like the infected not really feeling like a constant threat. But then again, like the situation with Henry and Sam, and then we haven't even touched on David and the cannibals, and like how at the beginning of this episode, you can like Ellie was in a state of shell shock.
That was one thing I forgot to mention. So they portrayed her, like you said, she at the beginning of the episode, she was just not into it, right? You could tell the whole time Joel is trying to like keep her spirit up, kind of make her laugh, be like, hey, we gotta do this, and she's just not out of it. Or she's just completely out of it. She doesn't really regain herself until they see the giraffes.
Yeah, I love that they included the giraffes.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool.
He was real. His name is Nabu.
Aw.
That's cute.
I didn't know that. I thought that was CGI.
Nope.
They CGI the background.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But his name is Nabu.
But they infer why she's in the state she is, but they don't say it, and I was a little confused, but I was like, is it from the previous episode? Is it because their journey's coming to an end?
No,
I mean,
it was the previous episode.
Yeah, I mean, she just cleaved the guy.
Not even that. Like, she potentially almost got SA'd. Like, and it doesn't matter. End of the world, you're still gonna have weird creeps.
Yeah.
You gotta take a flavor to them.
You know, she never gets a chance to come to term with that kind of. Well, she kind of tells Joel her backstory, but beyond that,
yeah, you don't know if it's like a day or two apart.
Yeah, so you never she never deals with that issue, right? And that was like, kind of felt like it was hanging. Yeah. Right, I understand, but kind of felt like I was hanging.
And the more we talk about it, the more I kind of realize that, like, yeah, I mean, the having more infected on like this is the thing with this story, man. It's so emotionally heavy because you get hit with one mollywop after another. Because it's first is the death of Tess, then you find out that Bill and Frank are dead. Then Henry and Sam.
So they Ned Starked you.
Yeah, no, I mean they.
Yeah.
You can't love nobody.
They red wedding us.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Except they spread out the red wedding over the course of the whole season.
It
was like 9 episodes of red wedding.
Winter is coming.
So, final thoughts?
Final thoughts is, I'm excited for season 2.
Confirmed.
Yeah, confirmed.
Yeah.
Confirmed season 2.
They did say, and this was one of my concerns too, but they did say that they are not going to recast Bella Ramsey. There was some people that were thinking that she would be recast because there's a 5-year time jump, and she's supposed to be 5 years older.
Yeah.
But in the second game, Ellie is 19, which is the age that Bella Ramsey is
currently.
Now.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they? I mean.
Yeah.
Just do makeup.
Yeah, so
she binded herself so that she wasn't more of
so she looked younger.
Younger.
Yeah, so I'm absolutely content that they're gonna keep her on as Ellie. I would have been.
Oh, they are keeping.
Yeah, they are.
I thought you said they were.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa.
No.
So they are keeping
her on as Ellie. They are keeping her on.
Recast. Yeah. And is it going to cover Game 2?
So here's what they said. They are going to cover the events of Game 2, but they said that they feel that there is enough story for 2, potentially 3 seasons worth of content.
I can see
from Game 2.
I can see it.
Yeah, it should. Oh my god, it should not be like Walking Dead, where they drag it on for 17
Well, they only have
episodes.
so much content.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying they built off of
Yeah, and I mean, depending on how long the season takes, and there's rumors right now that that The Last of Us 3, the game, is in production.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, that's rumors. That hasn't been confirmed at all.
Okay.
Was Pedro gonna be still Joel? Has that been confirmed yet?
Yeah, I mean, he would continue as Joel.
Okay, well, that's all I care about
that.
Yeah. So fair enough.
Obviously she hasn't played the game, so we're not going to talk about Last of Us Part 2.
We don't talk about Bruno. No.
But there was before we go on, I did want to mention Ellie's mother was played by so Ashley Johnson, the voice actress for Ellie in the game, is who played her mother at the opening sequence.
Okay, that's really nice. I love when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Love that.
And so they've given each of the primary actors a small role. Troy Baker, the voice of Joel, was Jake?
James
in the cannibal episode.
The guy.
Yeah. So that was, and then
Marlene is Marlene.
Marlene. She was the only one who reprised her role from the game. The voice actress for Marlene played Marlene. But yeah, so overall, super great. Really faithful to the source material, and man, those emotional highs and lows. Like I still say, for me, I was sold on the first episode when the actress that plays Joel's daughter, Sarah, right? I absolutely fell in love with her in those first 40 or so minutes of that first episode. And like, if I didn't know anything about the show and you told me, hey, this show is going to continue and follow her and she's going to be I would have been in. I would have been sold. And the fact that like you knew it was coming, you knew what was going to happen, and dude, I shed tears when she died in Joel's arms.
I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, you really do fall in love with her because she's just like, she wants to take care of her dad. She knows her dad is doing everything he can to give her the best life. Mm-hmm. So what does she do? She takes his favorite watch and fixes it for him. So, I mean, yeah, you can't not love her for that.
Yeah, so I knew I was hooked when, even knowing that it was coming, I bawled like a baby when she died in his arms. So
I did not bawl, but it was pretty sad.
Fair.
All right, so any final thoughts?
I mean, it was good. I'm not going to play the game. It's not for me. But I do look forward to the next season. I hope it doesn't take 17 years to make, because it just seems like that's the trend. But I do look forward to it.
Fair. Yeah. Same. I think it was a great episode, great show. Can't wait for season 2. I do have one final thought. The last scene of the last episode, Joel drives off and he tells Ellie, "Hey, there are other people like you." He, clearly lied.
When he lied to her,
so everything we just did was for nothing. Ellie turns around and is like, something doesn't seem right. And
I mean, she knew.
She knew.
And then that he was lying.
When they go back to Tommy, which in the game was actually an after credit scene, she asks him, what you said was true, right? Like, swear to me. And he's like, yeah, 100%. I swear to you, it was true. And you can tell by Ellie's eyes, she knew it was a lie.
I mean, she knew in the show too.
No, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the show.
Oh.
I'm talking about the show, like Bella Ramsey's acting. Yeah. Like, Ellie knew that he was lying, and she's like...
That's why it's going to bite him later in the ass in season 2. That's going to be... I can foresee, I'm putting money on it now, that there's going to be an argument where she throws that at his face, or in his face, where he's like, "You lied to me, how can I trust you about this?" Mm-hmm. So...
Fair. But I thought that scene was very interesting, and I will leave it at that.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us if you agree, if you don't agree, if we're awful, if we don't know what we're talking about. Let us know. Let us know whatever you want to let us know in the comments. And as always, we'll catch you next time. All right, so thanks for tuning in. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
And please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and podcasting services such as Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Thanks a lot. Catch you next time.